This isn't a story about football. It's a story about a spectacular, self-inflicted implosion. We're going to look at how a team, desperate for a shortcut to a championship, ended up setting their entire franchise on fire. And in the process, they burned the best coach they'd had in over 20 years. So today, we're not just looking at the X's and O's. We're examining the scene of the crime to figure out exactly how it all went so wrong. Okay, so this is the official line, the standard corporate press release you get when something goes bad. Results have not been satisfactory. Yeah, you think? But this statement, this isn't the story. This is the cover-up. The real weapon that ended Kevin Stefanski's career in Cleveland was forged years before this was ever written. This is just the tombstone they put on his office door. And this is the damage report, 8 and 26. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's not a slump. That is a full-blown 5-alarm disaster. You don't just accidentally stumble into a record this bad in the NFL. It's a sign that something is fundamentally broken. But here's the crazy part. The coach didn't just forget how to coach overnight. He was just the last one standing after the bomb went off. So this is the big question, isn't it? The one we're here to answer. How does a guy with 2 Coach of the Year trophies on his shelf, the man who broke a nearly 2-decade-long curse in Cleveland, get fired? It just doesn't add up on the surface. To really understand the crash, you have to go back and see just how high this thing flew in the first place. All right, let's hop in the time machine for a minute. Because before this whole thing turned into a catastrophe, it was a legitimate fairy tale. For a city that had been the punchline of the NFL for years, Kevin Stefanski was nothing short of a savior. Just look at this track record. It is absolutely incredible. In his very first year, he takes the Browns to an 11-5 record and gets them their first playoff win since I was a little kid. Wins Coach of the Year. Check. Then, fast forward to 2023. The team is completely wrecked by injuries. He had to start 5, count them, 5 different quarterbacks. That's basically impossible in this league. And he still coached them to 11 wins and a playoff spot. It was pure coaching genius. He got a second Coach of the Year award for it. And this, right here, is where the story gets wild. This was written in January of 2024, less than 2 years before he was fired. The conversation wasn't about whether he was a good coach. The conversation was about whether he was an all-time great. People were talking Hall of Fame. So you have to ask yourself, what on earth could possibly happen to derail a career moving that fast? Well, the problem was already in the building. The downfall of this team wasn't a slow burn. It wasn't a death by 1,000 cuts. It was one single move. One catastrophic, franchise-altering decision that made the collapse almost inevitable. This is the story of the trade. So here's how it started. The Browns were already a pretty good team, but the front office had its eyes on a Super Bowl. Their quarterback, Baker Mayfield, was playing through some injuries, and they thought they were just one elite QB away from the promised land. They decided to swing for the fences. And this was that swing. They went all in for Deshaun Watson. Now, the price they paid was, to put it mildly, astronomical. They gave up 3 first-round draft picks, basically mortgaging their future for the next 3 years. But that's not even the wildest part. They gave him a 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed contract. You have to understand how rare that is. It meant they were on the hook for every single dollar, no matter what. It was a financial handcuff they snapped on themselves. And hey, don't just take my word for how bad it was. This is a quote from the owner himself, Jimmy Haslam. A big swing and miss. You know, that's like calling the Titanic a minor league. This wasn't just a miss. This was swinging for a home run, missing the ball completely, and having the bat fly out of your hands and hit your own star pitcher. It was a historic cell phone. So from the moment that contract was signed, a time bomb was planted under the franchise. The foundation was cracked, and it was only a matter of time before the whole thing came crumbling down. This chart tells the whole story without any words. See those 2 peaks, the 11-win seasons? That's Stefanski's magic. And see that cliff they fall off right after 2023? That's the bill for the Watson trade coming due. 3 wins, 5 wins. The talent on the team just evaporated. So how does one deal do so much damage? Well, it attacks you from 4 different directions. First, with no first-round picks, you can't bring in cheap young talent to fill holes. Second, that giant contract means you have no money, no salary cap space to sign good veteran players. Third, the player you bet everything on struggled with injuries and just didn't perform like a superstar. So you've got no new talent, no money, and an underperforming quarterback. What happens next? Well, someone has to take the blame, and you can't fire the owner. So the coach becomes the easy scapegoat. And that brings us to the present day. And this is where the story gets really bizarre.
because the team and the coach they just fired are now heading in completely opposite directions.
Look at this contrast. On one side, you have the Browns, who are stuck with this disastrous contract and have to find a new coach who's actually willing to take on this mess. On the other side, you have Kevin Stefanski. He's now the hottest coach on the market because every other team in the league knows exactly what happened in Cleveland.
So the Browns are doing their due diligence, right? They're interviewing a whole list of qualified candidates. But you just know that every single person they talk to is thinking the same thing. How am I supposed to win here with my hands tied behind my back?
Meanwhile, Stefanski's biggest problem is deciding which job to take next. The Falcons, the Giants, the Titans, the Raiders, a bunch of teams are lining up to talk to him. It's funny how getting fired from an impossible situation can actually make you look better to the rest of the league. And so, this is the question we're left with. What's the final verdict here? Was Kevin Stefanski a brilliant coach who was just put in a no-win situation by his own front office? Or, in the NFL, is the head coach always responsible for the results, no matter how bad the circumstances are? It's a brutal question, and it shows you that in the world of professional football, sometimes being great isn't enough to save your job.